Feed it cookies. All right. Well, I think we'll get started here. I'll kind of keep an eye on people coming in and admit them as they join. Welcome, everyone, to 8 Things to Know About the New Facebook. Thanks all for joining in America's new favorite pastime, Zoom meetings. We're glad you can join us today. We're going to make this short and sweet. Emily has about 15 to 20 minutes of content, and then we'll have time for questions. We planned it for noon to 12:45, but we might not make it that whole way. But plenty of time for questions, so make sure to kind of think about how we might be able to help answer some questions you might have that we can talk about later on in the presentation. My name is Jake Kundert. I'm with the Iowa Valley RC&D, and I'm here with Emily Stokel, who will be leading the presentation on the fascinating world of the new Facebook layout. We were talking before that it looks like starting on September 1st, they're forcing everyone to use the new one. You don't have a choice anymore. So I think we accidentally planned or timed this presentation to be pretty ideal. So as I mentioned, Emily Stokel is going to be leading the training. Emily is one of the Boost coaches for our Boost social media coaching program. And the other team that works on this project is at Northeast Iowa, RC&D. So Josh Dansdill and Mallory Hansen are here on the call as well. And then from our office, Julia Despain and Jessica Rilling are also involved in this project from Iowa Valley RC&D. I have just one slide here. I was going to mention a few things before we get into the Facebook layout part of this webinar, but just give some background on the Boost program. So the Boost Social Media Coaching Program is a program that the Northeast Iowa RC&D and Iowa Valley RC&D are partnering on. So it's for market managers and vendors, and it includes one-on-one coaching, networking, and training. So the one thing I would encourage you all to join if you are a market manager is the Iowa Farmers Market Manager Facebook group. So that's just a great way to, it's a private group. You have to be a market manager in Iowa to be included in it, and it's a great way to interact with other market managers in Iowa, get feedback on issues you might be having, brainstorm solutions, celebrate things that are happening that you're really proud of at your market. So I hope you'll all check that out if you're not already involved in that group. And then for the one-on-one coaching program, we are in the last month of the 2020 season of that. And we're going to be moving into the 2021 season a little bit differently. So we'll have 2 different options. In the past, we've always done it from spring until late summer or early fall. But we're going to include next year what we're calling an accelerated course. So it'll run from January to March to try to reach people that might prefer to really focus on improving their social media strategies before the season starts and before you get really busy. So it'll be the same amount of content, but it'll just be kind of packed into 3 months. So that'll be January to March. And so instead of 1 meeting per month, we'll do 2, and it'll cover the same 6 key topics that we're including now that focus on improving your social media marketing. And applications are going to open in late October for that. And then again, we'll do the full course, which will be April to September. I think we like offering that because it helps to be thinking about your social media strategies when you are so busy, because obviously you need to be managing your social media during that kind of crazy time in the heat of the summer too. So that again would be over a longer period of time, a 6-month program, 1 meeting per month, same content, and then applications will open up in February. These are all tentative kind of timelines, but this is our plan for right now. And this is all free, by the way. All of these opportunities are free to all market managers and vendors in Iowa. So those of you that are market managers, we hope that you'll share this with any vendors you think would value some social media training. And then last, we have a series of social media webinars. And so we're going to do 8 trainings this fall, winter, starting in November. And those were going to be all in person, but obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic. That's not a secret. And so we're going to do these all virtually starting in November. And we hope that you can join those. You can stay up on announcements for when these things are happening on our social media page. at Iowa Valley RC&D or at our website, and I have a link to that at the end of the presentation. Okay, so that's the Boost program. Please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us on staff about this opportunity. We'd be happy to talk more about what's involved if you're interested. So now I'm going to pass it over to Emily to get into what everybody is here for. The 8 things to know about the new Facebook layout.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily. I'm really excited to be here today. Like Jake mentioned, I'm a Boost coach, enjoying having the opportunity to chat through social media, strategy, techniques, and updates like this so that you can make your pages the very best that they can be. This will be a quick kind of like 8 top tips. There are some other things that have been added or that will continue to be added to Facebook as time goes on. You're just going to get more familiar with it the more you play around with it, so keep that in mind. But we will send out this presentation afterwards because it does have screenshots, so some of the key things that we're talking about today, you'll be able to remember, oh yeah, that's where that lives on the new Facebook page. And you can hopefully find those things and put some of these tips into practice. So let's jump into it. Okay, so this slide may be one day out of date. This was talking about how to switch back to the classic editor. You were for a time able to switch back to classic editor by going up to the top right hand corner of your screen and selecting switch back to classic Facebook. You all aren't going to need this anymore because you're going to understand how to use the new Facebook, so you won't need to switch back. But one thing to keep in mind is that as of now, none of the changes affect Facebook mobile. So if you do Facebook on your phone, it should look similar to how it used to look. So if you're getting stuck, that's always an option to look at how things are on the Facebook mobile app on your phone. Okay, so visually, one of the main things that changed on Facebook is just how your key navigation bars are laid out. So this screen shows as though we're on a business page. Up here at the top, you have a static navigation bar. So you have the option to get to your home page. If you manage multiple business pages, you can access all those business pages by this flag icon. You can go to Facebook Watch, which is kind of like Facebook's video YouTube type service, Facebook Marketplace, and Facebook Groups, all right here. So this screen, no matter what page you're on Facebook, this screen will now stay the same. So if you ever need to get back to your business page or get back to the home page, that's always going to live right there. The other big layout change is over here on the side. You have things like your inbox, your events, some of those items that you'll need to access more frequently, they're just going to live in that very visual place on your page so that they're easy to access no matter where you are on Facebook. And we'll get into some of these features a little bit more later on. But if you ever get lost, you can go right back home from the navigation bar there. Okay, so this is one of my favorite new tools on the new Facebook layout. So they've added this Facebook inbox, which again, you just access from the left side of your page. You'll see inbox here. You'll have a notification that you have new messages, comments. The really cool thing about this inbox is that you can answer Facebook messages, Instagram messages if you have your Facebook and Instagram pages linked, Facebook comments, Instagram comments, everything all in one place on the desktop. And rather than having it be notifications that come in and sometimes you miss the notifications, this is more like an email inbox. So you can just go through and answer all of those things all in one place. You'll still get notifications. So, if that's an easy way for you to know that you have new messages or comments, you'll still get those. But I think this is a great opportunity to kind of treat answering messages and comments as your daily process of checking your emails, because you can sit down and get back to people all in one place. So I'll show you what that looks like. So you go into that inbox and you have these various different inboxes. So you have your messenger. This is your Facebook messages. I have this page hooked up to Instagram. So I have my Instagram direct messages. I've got my Facebook comments and my Instagram comments. And then you'll see that just like an email inbox, all these unread messages will come up in this field here. You can comment, like, share, reply, direct message people back, all from this one screen without having to go to each individual post where someone left a comment. So I think this is a great new tool to help you make sure you're not missing anyone. I think it's a great new practice to get on this page at least once a day. Make sure you're answering any unanswered comments. Make sure you're liking posts that tagged you. They'll all come up here in this inbox page. Okay, so another addition to the new Facebook layout is the option to view as a visitor. So if you're making an update to your page and you want to know how it will look to the outside audience, up in the top right-hand corner, you'll have this View as Visitor button. And you can click on that and it will take you to what the person coming to your page sees when they access your page. So this is just a great way to make sure that, you know, if you're updating the About section or you're adding new hours and you're like, where will this live on my page? You can click that really quickly to see what it'll look like as a visitor. Another new layout change is your About section is a lot more prominent now. So this About section, instead of living just under one of your tabs up at the top, it's static right there on the front of your page when people first go to your page. It also holds steady for a little while as the user scrolls through the feed on the right-hand side. The About section stays the same. So why this is important is I think sometimes when people set up a Facebook page, they toss whatever language comes to mind in that About section, and then it's maybe something that they don't think about again for a while. But with that being so prominent, that's a great opportunity to make sure that your most crucial information lives in that page. So do you have hours that are really important to communicate? Maybe a location that's very important to communicate. Of course, some of your brand messages, the mission, what you're about, what you do can live in that section too. But think about that and the content that's in that About section as being one of the first things people are going to see when they come to your page. And if you haven't updated the About section in a little while, it might be time to go see what content's in there. Okay, another new addition is you have this very prominent call to action button. So your call to action button is this blue button up here at the top, and you can change what the call to action is. I think the default is send message, but you actually have the option to choose from these call to actions. You can have it say buy gift card, contact us, send message, send email, learn more, view shop, or sign up if you have a newsletter. To edit what the call to action is, you'll just click on the blue. It'll say edit send message if that's the call to action that you're using. For this instance, this store has an online shop, so their call to action button is view shop, and you click on that blue button and it takes you right to their online shop. So something I suggest, you know, maybe you want to leave it as send message. Maybe that's something that's really important to your organization. But if it's more important to be directing people to an online shop or to have people sign up for your newsletter, you may want to consider changing what that call to action button is, especially considering how prominent it is on your home page. So this is what the button looks like if you are in the view as visitor mode. So just a reminder, up at the top, if you were on your page, you would have that view as visitor button. You could select that. Then it will say, this is what your page looks like to a visitor. And you can see that on this Facebook page, they have their call to action as send message. But it really is a very bold button there, right there on the front page. So it might be a great place to have view online shop, for example. Okay. So the next couple slides are some slight changes to the sizes of various photos on Facebook. If you're using an app like Canva, which they redo the resizing for things like cover photos and profile photos, all within that app. This is probably not that important for you to take into consideration. And honestly, what ends up happening is Facebook crops down your photos for you anyway. So you likely won't notice too much of a change in your cover photo. Facebook has just changed the amount that they're showing in the crop. So you'll get this presentation afterwards. So if you want to know what the new dimensions of the cover photo are, you'll have them. I think the only instance where perhaps your crop could look off a little bit is if you were previously using a cover photo that had some text in it, and then Facebook changed the crop size on that cover photo. You may just want to update the size of that. Otherwise, not a huge amount has changed. It just gives you the option for a slightly larger cover photo. Similarly, photos in the feed have changed slightly. Like I said, if you're using Canva, Canva takes all this into account. But if something looks a little off in terms of sizing, you have these dimensions to go back and look on. So those are the top tips. My key takeaways for you today before we jump into questions are I highly recommend you go back and look at your About section on your Facebook profile. Make sure that it has the most crucial information for your organization. Make sure your website is up to date. Make sure your hours are listed if that's relevant. Just think about the things that a user would need to know right away when they're coming to your page, and that's an excellent place to put that information. I highly encourage you to get familiar with the new Facebook desktop features inbox as a way to reply to messages and comments. I think this is a really organized system that will make it easy for you to respond to everyone and not miss anything. And it's a great new tool to use. And I encourage you to look at what your call to action button is and update it to make sure that it's the most relevant for your organization. So there's lots of new things on Facebook, but if you were to take away just a couple of things today, those will be the first 3 things that I would have you do after you watch this presentation to make sure you are using the new Facebook features to the best of their ability to make your organization looked polished and professional. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Emily.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think if people that have questions, if you want to raise your hand and then you can unmute, I can just call on you so we're not having people asking questions on top of each other. Or if you're more comfortable, feel free to use the chat function. And just a reminder for those that might not be as familiar with Zoom, to raise your hand. Oh boy, no, I'm trying to figure out how do we do this. If you go to reactions along the bottom of the screen, there's a little smiley face with a plus sign. If you click on that, there's a hand raise, or it's not even a hand anymore. Why is there not a hand anymore? Anyway, if you click on one of those icons, I'll be able to know that you want to be asking a question, or use the chat box. Thanks, Marie. Yes, click on participants and click hand raise there. There you go. You got it.
Oh, I see that now too.
Is it me or is that different? I think it's different.
That's different, I think.
Okay, thanks. Maria, were you demonstrating or do you have a question? Okay, thanks. All right, go ahead, Kathy. If you want to unmute and ask your question.
Nothing. I was just playing with buttons. Sorry.
Well, now we know. We're learning more than just Facebook in this meeting.
Yeah.
Is there anything different or new that's different between the desktop versus smartphone platforms of the Facebook?
Yeah, so on your mobile phone, the Facebook app hasn't changed. So it's the same as what you're used to. It's really the desktop that has changed over. They've changed kind of the visual element, the way that it looks, but then they've added a few of those features like we talked about.
Okay.
Phone looks the same. I guess another thing I can show you all really quick, I'll screen share once more. It's possible that some of you might manage multiple business pages. So if that's the case for you, again, this is that static bar up at the top, and the flag is where your pages are. Click there. You'll find all your pages easy to access there. You can see kind of at a glance if you have notifications, if you have messages, things like that. That's all there. So if you manage a marketplace page and your small business page, for example, you'll find all of that. You can jump between pages right there really quickly. And then within each of those pages, so once you go to one, you have all those features. So you've got that inbox feature over here, the features that we talked about over here. And then you can always go back to pages. And again, you'll see all your pages there. An additional feature that I found just as I was playing around with this, so I really like the inbox as a way to respond to people, because I think that it reminds me of email, how messages are unread, and then you can reply to them. But another feature that's kind of nice is if you go to this more button here at the top and you select community, you can see all the posts where people have tagged you in posts, and you have the option to like and comment and get back to them there too. The thing I like about the inbox is it puts any posts that you've made that people have commented on in that inbox, so you have the option to reply to them, whereas this is just basically everywhere you're tagged. So that's another kind of cool feature. Just trying to make it slightly easier to get back to everyone rather than having to completely follow all those notifications. We know we get tons.
Okay. Well, if there aren't any questions, I might just show my last slide here. Thank you all for joining us, spending some of your afternoon with us. We hope you found it informative and learned something new about how to better use the new Facebook layout. Again, we are going to be having applications come out later this year, and then again early next year for the social media coaching program. And then we'll have a series of trainings that are going to happen later this year. And you can find out about both of those things and any other announcements related to the Boost program, either on our Facebook page, Iowa Valley RC&D, or at our website, iowavalley.rcd.org/boost. And then there's contact information for Emily and I here at the bottom. Please reach out to us with any questions. And thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.